Want to sharpen your game? Join the DFM Coaching Patreon for exclusive technique breakdowns and mindset training. Now, let's get started.
Welcome to Tapped In. My name is David Figueroa Martinez of DFM Coaching, and today we're going to be discussing wisdom and the Weaver paradox. And that title sounds more grandiose than it really is. It's just this inversion of attributes as you get older. 45, I am far more understanding of a bunch of different things than I was when I was, and we're just going to use my jiu-jitsu career, when I was 30, 35. Right now, my understanding of people, my understanding of body movement, my understanding of technical jiu-jitsu, leverage, timing, everything that goes into making a technique really smooth is the highest it's ever been. And it's going to continue to grow, and that graph is going to be going in the right direction, the direction that I wanted to go in. Teaching, for example, has taught me so much more about jiu-jitsu and people, for that matter, than I did before I started teaching. And sometimes I used to think, if I'm spending all this time teaching, how am I really spending time on myself in my own levels as a student? And there is something to that, because you are giving up a lot. But you're putting in so much time in learning and trying to understand techniques because you have to explain them. And they're techniques that are not part of your A game. So you have to do some studying. You have to do some exploration on your end when you're rolling with people. Because oftentimes I will roll and I will have a curriculum in mind. So I'm already on that subject while everyone else is still rolling with what I'm teaching currently. And sometimes I also, during classes, where if I've taught something, I will use that technique during that class to enforce how well it can work, and that what I'm trying to teach you has its merit and its place. But there are times when I'm already kind of mentally working on something that I'm going to be teaching in a week or two, and I'm implementing that in my game because I want to feel, yes, I know the technique. It was taught to me. I'm pretty knowledgeable about those things, but when you can implement them into your technique, like, okay, so this is where it commonly fails. This is where I've been coming up short. All right, so I need to start timing this a little bit better. And it helps you teach that technique to other people differently and with more in-depth. It's not just the skeleton of the technique, but it's the what if or when they, that gray zone within techniques that you get to teach. So my knowledge and approach and understanding of people, the body, and jiu-jitsu are so much better and sharper these days than ever before. And it's going to continue to go that route. Now, my physical attributes, on the other hand, are going in the opposite direction. I'm a bit slower. I'm easier to get sore. It takes me longer to recoup from certain ailments or certain types of classes or certain roles. I don't roll every day. I don't even roll every day that I'm on the mats. Sometimes I have to pick and choose who I want to roll with. Sometimes, and there's days where, like Saturday, open mat at 5 Peaks, I'm going with whoever will take me because that's my rolling day. That's my selfish day. So I want hard training that day. The following day, I'm off. Unless I feel good and I want to go to Sunday open mat at Gracie La Mesa. But I tend to take it off, and then I don't teach on Monday. I get back to teaching Tuesday. So I have a couple of days off between. That morning after, the Saturday morning after open mat, I'm usually exhausted, and I need a nap. This wasn't always the case. I used to train hard. I used to train to compete. I used to go to comp class on Sunday mornings at my old school, and I trained hard. We would go for a run. Like, I can feel that my body is not the same way that it was when I was a white belt, let alone 5 years ago, 10 years ago. So that aspect of me is on the decline, and I feel it every week, every month, every year. And there's stuff that you don't even necessarily see, but it changes. Your reaction time might be a little different. It doesn't mean that your jiu-jitsu is bad. It's not. Your understanding of jiu-jitsu is so much better. It's just you become a bit more sly and clever and tricky with the things you have to do because there are physical limitations there that are not on par with some of the other students that you might be teaching or rolling with. But it's a little change. It changes. I'm far more strategic than I've ever been when you are new and young. And I put those together because you could be new and in your 40s. But let's say you're new and young, you're a white belt, you're in your 20s. You can solve a lot of problems with dead strength and perseverance and just the notion that I just got to come forward. A lot of things get solved with just brute strength. I'm coming forward, I'm a ram, get out of the way. It's a successful approach. As you get older and you can't go through walls and you can't go through every opponent you have, you become a little bit more wise. You start setting traps. You understand your game better than you've ever understood it before. And you understand the potential of the human body and the most common responses to things because you've been on the mat for a long time. So kind of like a cop who's on their beat has a sixth sense to a degree of certain things that happen with people because they've been around people for so long. You do the same thing when you're on the mats. I understand this guy's going to want to grab my collar here. And then how can I use that against him? I understand that people will do this, but I don't want to set it up A to B. I want to set it up with something else so that when he grabs this, he's not thinking about it much because I have these other things in play. You become great at sleight of hand. You become great at manipulating the roll plainly and simply because you are setting up traps and you understand the course better than other people. You will hide your best weapons behind minor attacks. Like I might kind of like a boxer with a jab, or you play video games. Sometimes chess is a great one. If you can open up the board in such a way where your pawns become a little bit of a threat and there's gaps in the board where then your bishop and your queen and your knight start hiding behind these immediate threats, then you can set up secondary threats, which is really where we want to go. Because my first threat, it's not the end of the game. It's really just to put you on your heels. It's really to take away your focus for a bit. But what's coming after that is really what's most powerful. You take away a pawn because it's there and you think you're fine. And then now you've opened up the king because the queen is hiding behind that and so on. So that's really what I think we get really good at when we have more experience and we get a little older. Not saying that this doesn't happen, but I think it's different than when you're young and you're a black belt. You're still using a lot of your attributes, your strength, your speed, because you can. When let's say you're a 15-year, black belt in your mid-20s because you started young. So you've been training for 15 years. Now you're 25, you're a black belt. That game is different than someone who's been training 15 years. Now they're a black belt and they're 45. Because you don't have those attributes. So you have to be sneakier. You have to be more conniving. You have to be a little bit more shrewd. You're hiding things a bit more. You're more sleight of hand. I don't have the ability to cartwheel over you at a whim. Those are attributes that don't exist in me. Not that I can't, but they're just not readily available. I think the older you get, the more conniving you get, the more shrewd you start being a really good card player, if that makes sense. Recovery from training is widely different. Like I mentioned, I take a few days to recover from certain things. If I train hard one morning, I need a solid nap by 10, 11 a.m. Solid nap. My wife has finally kind of accepted, hey, I'm older, I'm going to sleep at some point, and I don't have the greatest sleep to begin with. So, I'm taking time to recover. I love that nap. When I was younger, I was like, what's a nap? Let's go do shit. Now, I love falling asleep on the couch. I can go to bed and put on my little CPAP machine and go to sleep. It's different. I have to do more stretching. I have to do more stuff with like the massage gun, just sore in places that I normally wouldn't be sore, on top of the most chronic shit like lower back. I find sometimes I have bouts of like plantar fasciitis. I'm surprised I even said that. Sometimes I'm having a little bit of knee soreness. Sometimes the hips get a little tired. So we are at that stage where we decide how much physicality we want to put into a round, or what days or when. And it's okay to. Like, you're going to have to decide, hey, this week maybe I'm only going to roll 2 days out of the 4 days I'm in, or I'm going to roll lighter with certain people that take care of me. None of that is an issue, and it should be applauded. Hopefully you're not at a gym that thinks that 45-year-old has to train like the 20-year-old. It's not fair. Unless you're a competitor and that's something else and you love that thing, please go for it. But the rest of us, we're dealing with things. We're dealing with a lot of things. I also think that the older I get, the more defensive I've become. I have these rounds where I might be on my back for 4 minutes, 4 of the 6 minutes, and it may look like I'm not doing anything at all. And it's me using micro movements and these little moments of off balancing and pushing so they can push back into you, and these little things that you feel but don't necessarily see from the outside. A lot of it is hand fighting. We're doing a lot of hand fighting and grip fighting, and it looks really minor. But if I can get the upper hand on that, then it opens up my escapes. It opens up where I can attack. It creates a lot of things for me. But defense is my highest priority right now. And it does 2 things. It stops me from getting submitted. I might have to carry some weight from the guard position, but it stops me from getting submitted so often. I don't get submitted a ton. Not saying that I'm some badass. It's just, that's a goal of mine. And it's also a goal of mine to protect myself at all times and put myself in a position where I'm not going to have someone drive their weight on me in a weird way, or I'm not going to allow someone to wrench an arm suddenly. So I'm constantly in protective mode of everything around me, my hands, my limbs, my legs, my elbows, my shoulders, my neck. And my mind is always processing, if I go into this position, what are they going to more likely do? Okay, they're going to come up. I might lose the position. I might get crushed underneath. Okay, I don't like that. Okay, what if I do this? They might. And so there's this background noise that's going on, that it's not a thought for thought. It's more like a quick analysis of what could happen. And then I move on. So that defensiveness has been huge for me. I often use it to frustrate people. It goes right back into traps. It goes right back into setting people up for things that they don't necessarily see coming, because they're getting so frustrated and they just want to get the pass. So then maybe you get an underhook, or you get a butterfly hook, and you get that in, and you start creating space, and you can see, or you can hear sometimes a grunt or a sound of desperation or annoyance. It's an aging thing, and I highly respect the people who are 45 in white belts, 50 in white belts, because you don't have the skill set to do a lot of what I just explained, but you still come to class. And yes, while you're understanding jiu-jitsu a little bit more, and it's going, that will always kind of go up. It's going at a much slower rate, because you don't have the physicality. You don't have so you have to rely on just, hey, I'm just going to be losing a lot. That's the age bracket or the group that I kind of respect most, because they continue to come to class even when they know it's not going to go well. And they just love the fun of doing jiu-jitsu. Hopefully this makes sense. If you have any questions, please hit me up, dfm.2099 on Instagram and Threads. Until next time, thank you so much.